Hi, I'm Liron Cohen.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And you're listening to Lady Parts TV, the podcast.
Whee!
Hello and greetings from Martha's Vineyard.
Hello, hello.
We are here on our beautiful island, and we're happy to be back podcasting and start the summer. So let's start with our stats this week. Well, actually 2 weeks. We tallied 46 shows, out of which written or co-written by women, 24, which is 52%. Hooray, hooray. And directed by a woman, sorry, not co-directed, 16, which is 35%, which is pretty much our standard on a good day. So, alrighty, we have lots to tell you about. Some of the stuff will have to be deferred to next week because it's too much.
Well, 2 weeks. We watch 10,000 shows a week.
I know.
I've been watching a lot of tennis, though, so that's been
it's balancing it out.
That's been keeping the stats down a little. We don't have my shows to tally.
But actually, we're going to start by telling you about a documentary. It's called The Lavender Scare. It opens in New York and in LA June 7th, which is the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall uprising, but it will air on PBS June 18th. So wherever you are, you can see it, and we recommend that you do.
Absolutely. It was also D-Day, and I don't think that's
related.
No, I don't. I think it's sort of not unrelated.
Well, it was directed by Josh Howard, and it's based on a book by David K. Johnson, narrated by Glenn Close, and featuring the voices of Cynthia Nixon, Zachary Quinto, T.R. Knight, and David Hyde Pierce. You might see a connection or a theme going on between all these voices.
Yes, nobody can complain except for Glenn Close that they didn't use gays and lesbians
to play parts of gays and lesbians. Yes,
they were just mostly voiceovers.
Yes, well, but they were reading out letters, and they were basically doing.
And the
voices.
reason I make the comparison with D-Day is because we were fighting a fascist dictator.
We always seem to be doing that. Huh?
Who was, against Jews, homosexuals,
anybody who was different.
The theme is not is as I
persecution.
Said, not unrelated.
It's true. The movie, by the way, won over 20 Best Documentary Awards, and for a good reason. And here's what it's about. So you might know, or you might not know, that during the 1950s, during the Cold War era, homosexuals were targeted by the federal government, led by Eisenhower, as a security risk because of all the scare about Russian spies and everything.
They were afraid that they could be blackmailed if their secret, secret was discovered.
Which, by the way, almost everybody has a secret. Everybody can be blackmailed. Right. But this was just an excuse to, again, persecute a minority group that's vulnerable. And this was a witch hunt that lasted 4 decades. And it was the longest witch hunt in American history. Whoever was deemed homosexual, whether or not they actually were, didn't actually mean anything. If they showed signs, and by signs, by the way, you will see and you will scream, a woman who just seemed to be wearing pants too much.
Clothes.
Yeah, or
and didn't wear lipstick.
Right, or heels.
Yeah.
So she was obviously a lesbian.
We saw this in the reports that they showed us.
Yes, exactly. They're showing real FBI reports, and the ramifications of this were far more reaching than people would imagine. Just quote unquote a person losing their livelihoods. We're talking about a lot more than that, and ramifications that go through the generations, as we can see.
And it started very slowly.
As everything does.
It started very slowly, a few here, a few there, and before long it was tens of thousands. And it was all federal government jobs. Yeah. And his vow was to rid the federal government of all employees discovered to be gay and lesbian. And actually, this was before McCarthy, and this sort of launched, this showed McCarthy what he could do. And so then he began with the communists. It sort of launched, it helped ignite the gay rights movement.
Yes, so I think on this 50th anniversary of the Stonewall uprising, I'm so happy they're showing it on PBS so anybody can see it. It's a very important story that I think some of us may have known a little bit about, but you didn't know the extent to which this permeated, and it's very powerful. It's very moving. The movie itself is very well made, very
absolutely
effective,
fabulously well made, and the footage they got was great. The footage that they created
and the letters
was amazing.
And the documents,
the way it was presented. was very powerful, very gripping.
The Lavender Scare on June 18th on PBS.
Gay or not gay,
it's important to know what your government is doing.
Exactly. And
first they came for
exactly.
Now we have to tell you about a show that right now is on in Britain, but I don't know yet when it's coming to the U.S., but we will update you.
Yes, we will keep you apprised because this is something you're going to want to see. Strangely enough, The Guardian didn't give it the kind of review I would have given it, but it's called Summer of Rockets, written and directed by Stephen Polyakov, and it stars the divine, always, but especially in this, she's amazing, Keeley Hawes, Toby Stevens, who's wonderful, Linus Roach, Ronald Pickup, Lucy Kohu, and
Timothy Spall. Also Lily Sakovsky.
And what was the boy's name?
Toby Wolf.
Toby Wolf, who is just remarkable. He plays like a 8 or 10-year-old boy, and he's very central to this plot, just because he's sort of the bridge between this
two families,
Jewish family and this highborn British family. Claire Bloom also is in it, and I have always adored Claire Bloom. Anyway, it's set in the UK during again, tumultuous summer of 1958, more Cold War, spying, worries, post-war,
nuclear bombs, space race.
It's a tense period in the history of the world, and it follows this family headed by the patriarch Samuel Petrukian, who is a Russian-born Jewish inventor and businessman. He's a hearing aid specialist, and he did, among others, Winston Churchill's hearing aid. And,
this is, by the way, loosely based on
Petrukian's...
on Stephen Polyakov's
father, right.
Yeah, who actually did invent the pager.
The pager, exactly, which plays a rather large role, the invention of the pager, in this. As you will see, I'm not even going to tell you how or why. Anyway, he meets this family. Petrukian meets Keeley Hawes' family because the matriarch of the family, the grandmother, needs a hearing aid. So that's how they become involved. And Keeley Hawes becomes enchanted with the young men and starts inviting them to these very grand occasions.
She's married to an MP.
She's married to an MP and a war hero. And the relationship between these two families becomes very interesting, intertwined, and fraught with secrets.
The thing about this show is that I can't even tell you what genre it is because it mixes so many different genres.
It's very odd.
It has those
elements of humor, but it's very serious.
There's also the family drama. There's spy drama.
Yes,
there's all sorts of and all of a sudden, somewhere like here and there, it all of a sudden like gives me a Twin Peaks vibe.
Yep.
You know,
it's true. You will, I believe, love it. It has a little bit of something for just about everybody, and it's brilliantly done. It's gorgeous to look at. The acting
speaking of gorgeous to look at, Keeley Hawes. I just want to just say
I adore Keeley Hawes, and I think she's fabulous. I don't know about gorgeous to look at.
No, but she's
radiant.
There's something about her that is captivating to me. There's a soul, there's a spirit that just makes me want to see her. Whatever she does, I just want to watch her.
And this role is she's very constrained and restrained, but there's so much going on underneath her.
And right now, I think the cracks are starting to show.
Yes, the cracks are starting to show, and you find out as we go along a little bit more about her. She is the centerpiece.
Yeah.
And even though she might not appear to be the centerpiece, he might be Petrukian, she is it.
As we are finding out as we go along.
It is captivating.
It is.
It is captivating, surprising, and I want it never to end, but unfortunately
at some point it will.
At some point it will. It's not a very
we've just seen 2 episodes, and we want more. We just want more.
We've only seen 2 episodes. Yeah. I feel like I've been in their lives for months.
Yeah.
Anyway, Summer of Rockets on BBC Two, and we'll let you know when it's elsewhere.
Okay, now good news for you Suranne Jones fans that I know.
You multitudes.
I know that it's basically now we've been telling you about her for years, but now the Gentleman Jackie's out there. I know every single one of you is a Suranne Jones fan now.
And if you're not, there's something terribly wrong.
Terribly wrong. Give us a call. We'll sort you out. So we have a short film for you that's actually right now free on Vimeo. You can go and check it out right now. I will provide the direct link to the video, to the movie in the description for all the descriptions for the podcast, but also if you just want to go to Vimeo and look up Suranne Jones Gone, you will find it. So this short movie is called Gone, and it's written and directed by Lawrence Akers, who just happens to be Suranne Jones' husband. It's co-produced by Team Akers and Feather Productions, executive produced by Lawrence and Suranne themselves, and produced by Anna Murphy. And it's starring, you may have guessed it, Suranne Jones and Danielle Betts. And it's
about 8 minutes.
It's about 8 minutes. And to me, I never think that I like short stories or short movies.
I love short films.
Because to me, I'm always, I want to be invested in something. I want to have the long haul. But this is why I admire short movies that are done well, because they don't have time for exposition. They don't have time for you to get attached to the characters. They have to deliver in a very short time a very powerful story and characters that make you care about them.
And you do care about them in very short order.
Yes, this is why I'm saying that when a short movie is done well, it can be extremely powerful. And this is one of them.
Yes.
Because it's about a very, very powerful emotional time in two people's lives, let's say, and it keeps you in suspense for pretty much the entire 8 minutes until the last 5 seconds of it. It's very moving. It's very well acted. It's beautifully shot by Craig Ferguson, and I love the music by Rose Betts. And
maybe we just add Suranne Jones.
maybe we just pause a second to let you ruminate on the fact that Suranne
quite
Jones,
a different character than from
Two,
Gentleman Jack.
If you want to be British.
No, I don't do Two.
Very different, but that's why she's so wonderful, because she can do so much, and she can really in such a short time capture so much. And Danielle Betts was also wonderful. Mm-hmm. They make you feel so much, and they make you wonder what is going on here. You obviously know something.
You have an idea. You think one thing is going on, and perhaps something else is going on.
Yeah, we won't tell you too much, because in 8 minutes we don't want to spoil anything. But enjoy the free 8 minutes of Suranne Jones that you have, and enjoy watching the early works of a new production company. Lawrence Akers is a wonderful, promising writer and director. I mean, he's been doing this for a while, but he's now launching his own thing.
I think we'll see a lot more from Lawrence and Akers, Team Akers.
And I would love to see more collaborations between husband and wife, because they obviously bring out the best in each other.
I'd like to see one every week.
There you have it. So Gone on Vimeo right now. We will give you the direct link, but you can look for it as well. And speaking of Suranne, since we, every so often like to mention her name, we're launching a new corner of this podcast.
Okay. Usually I thought we would put this at the end, but this is fine now.
Well, since it's connected to Suranne. Mimi, would you like to say what our favorite moment?
Yes.
Well, the corner is our favorite moment of the week.
Moment. And sometimes we might each have our favorite moment.
But I think right now,
we are incomplete.
And I think it's us and thousands of
other people. For you Gentleman Jack fans, the last episode, I'm sure you will remember and probably will have laughed or screamed laughingly out loud at the moment when she clutches her gigantic thermometer to her breasts in her carriage with her ex-lover, saying, I like to travel with my thermometer. What's wrong with that? It's not illegal. Well, it was completely out of the blue. Actually a conversation that was becoming more and more bizarre as it escalated. They were having an argument, as they seem to do quite a bit. It was hilarious. I just have to say,
We had to pause
we
because we were laughing so hard.
and then we went back and watched it again, and we may have gone back and watched it again.
And we will
as
probably
soon as
do it
we
again.
finish this, we're going to go back and watch it again. And from everything we've heard from you out there, you all felt the same way.
And actually, as it turns out, Ann Lister, the original Ann Lister, did like to travel with her big thermometer. So it's a true story.
Even saying it.
Even better.
I have to say that the thing is about 1.5 feet long and about 5 inches wide. I mean, it's massive. At least you know it wasn't an oral or a rectal thermometer.
I was actually going to ask that. If that's
No,
what
it's a temperature thermometer for air temperature. So I guess since she didn't have an app to tell you what the weather was, or radio or television, she had to use her own thermometer.
And I would love to know the origin story behind the way that this scene was shot and how it became the hilarity that it became.
Yes, I'd love to know if Suranne had the idea to do the way she did it,
or if it just
or
happened,
whether it was Sally Wainwright, or whether it just she said, let's go for it, let's see what happens. Because it is one of the most brilliant moments I've seen on a show in I don't know how long.
Absolutely. Hurrah, hurrah, and applause.
It's not illegal. And speaking of hilarious, there's a new special on Netflix, Wanda Sykes, Not Normal.
Well, I should say actually that it's a Wanda Sykes special called Not Normal, not Wanda Sykes Not Normal.
Well, I don't know. I think she's implying that she might not be normal.
No, I think what she's saying is that the world is not normal. What's going on in the world is not normal.
It's written by Wanda Sykes and directed by Linda Mendoza. Wanda at her absolute best, talking politics.
This is absolutely one of her best specials ever.
Oh, I think that
we could have gone to that shoot and we didn't. I kind of feel bad we didn't.
Well, bummerama. Well, it's just Wanda at her best. She's so highly intelligent, and what I love also about her are her slow burns.
And actually, this time she did a lot of physical comedy too.
Yes, she was just brilliant from beginning to end. And she's talking politics, getting older, living in today's crazy world, and her family life. And I love when she does her French wife. Oh, darling, no. And she always has a very funny bad French accent, and there is not a moment that you aren't laughing, and also
crying on the
inside because of what is going on in our world, in our country.
It's pretty bad.
But I couldn't recommend it more highly. Having a bad day, watch Wanda Sykes, Not Normal, on Netflix. Having a good day, watch Not Normal with Wanda Sykes. Just watch it. You will absolutely love it. Promise, promise, promise.
Okay, now we need to quickly, very briefly, go over a few season finales because we've had quite a few of them in the last few weeks. And starting with your favorite, Killing Eve. And I want to say, so the ending was kind of like, whoa, what the fuck just happened? And we won't tell you just in case some of you haven't, but I just want to say that I personally think that there was no other way that they could have ended that season. I thought it was really brilliant of them throughout the season to bring them closer and closer together, to get Eve to flirt with the idea of the possibility of them having a relationship. It pushed her to her edge of finding out who she really is or what she's capable of. But then ultimately, a sociopath doesn't understand love. She understands ownership. And that couldn't have... I mean, realistically speaking, if they would have put them together, it would have been really seriously, no.
I mean, Eve can barely stand if her husband asks her to pass a glass of water. So to be under this woman's thrall. Anyway, she can't... Even though Eve herself has gotten a little...
And I think that's also, though, something that
Yes.
she's not okay with.
Yeah.
But the question is, now what?
Yeah.
Now where do we go?
What?
Because I think they were renewed for a third season.
Absolutely.
They would be crazy not to.
Oh, the show is a huge, raging success.
Right. And I just want to reiterate, Jodie Comer and Sandra Oh both were absolutely fantastic this season.
Just stunning. And, we really wanted Jodie Comer to win last year.
We wanted her to be nominated. She was barely recognized last year.
And didn't think that Sandra Oh, she did not own that first season.
I didn't feel, no.
But she's really fantastic
She's done
this season.
so many interesting things.
So many interesting, and I wish that they could both, except there's so many people we want to get Emmys
I know,
this
including
year.
Suranne. Have we mentioned her lately?
Suranne Jones
and Michelle
Williams. Oh,
well,
my God.
Since we're mentioning Michelle Williams, why don't you talk about the other season finale?
Okay, well, the
Fosse
season
Verdon.
finale of Fosse Verdon, or as we like to call it,
Verdon
Fosse, was, again, a stunner. We all know Bob Fosse died, and he dies.
I mean, this is actually a good thing.
It's a good thing. We were eager, but as we kept on saying, not until he directs Chicago. Well, he did direct Chicago. I thought actually his death was kind of an anticlimax, but it's the way it happened. So
I thought it was actually the death itself, the scene of the death.
Beautiful.
Again, because it was not about him, it was about Michelle. It was about Gwen.
I mean, Michelle Williams just broke my heart through this entire, and blew my mind.
Week to week, she has rocked my world.
Well, me too. And I've always been a fan of hers, as I said, even from
Dawson's Creek.
Gilligan's Island, Dawson's Creek, yes. But she surpassed everything she's ever done, I think.
Yes,
in this show.
Absolutely.
And I remember Gwen Verdon, and the way she has embodied her is almost creepy. Yeah. It's so brilliant. It's a wonderful finale to a wonderful series.
Again, Emmys.
Any of you theater people out there who have not watched this, what the hell are you waiting for? Okay,
go on FX now and binge it.
I wish I could have binged it, although I probably would have wanted to slit my wrist, as with the next show that I'm talking about, the finale, Chernobyl. And it is probably the most depressing series I've seen in a long, long, long time.
Compounded by the fact that it's true events.
And could happen. Yeah, I mean, we had an event at 3 Mile Island.
Well, what's unique about this particular event and this
in
show,
this particular time,
which is HBO, by the way, is that it's all about governmental cover-ups and egos and hubris and lies and how easily facts are replaced with alternative facts.
Exactly, and which resulted in the death of thousands of people.
Not to mention land and animals and water.
Just one of the, I think it is the worst nuclear accident in history. And it was an accident that could have been avoided.
Could have been avoided so much.
Should have been avoided. Yeah. But the Soviets don't even want that information of something that could be wrong to exist.
Which is why it took them a long time to even acknowledge it and fix it, even though it was fixable, because they didn't want it, because fixing it would have been an admission of guilt.
Well, this finale shows you why it was eventually fixed. The acting of, I can't remember, of Jared Harris and Emily Watson especially,
yes,
and Stellan Skarsgård is so commendable, so moving, so deep and rich, because they knew that they were doing things that would ultimately lead to, if not their death, certainly their not being able to do their work ever again.
But they cared so deeply.
They were scientists, and he wasn't.
And a politician. The one good politician,
right? As Jared Harris's character mentions, we were lucky we got the one honest man in politics.
It was just so powerful and at times very hard to watch, but very important.
I think really you need to see this. They managed to make it horrifying and chilling without making it gratuitously horrible, which it could have been because of what happens from from radiation poisoning. I watch it.
Finally, a series that we actually just caught up with, and so it ended a couple of weeks ago, but it's called The Enemy Within, starring Jennifer Carpenter and Morris Chestnut, and I just wanted to mention it because it was so much better than we had thought it would be.
Unexpectedly wonderful.
Yes, it was. It had so many twists and turns, and it never felt formulaic. It never felt gimmicky.
It was truly original.
Yes,
and the performances were excellent.
Mm-hmm. And it was very original, very interesting, and I think you'll enjoy it. And I'm hoping that it gets a new season because to me, there's so much more that can be done now.
There's a lot more to be done, and Jennifer Carpenter. It's just amazing. This character is quite an enigma, and you won't know where she's at in her head, in her plans from one minute to the next, and that keeps you really on your toes. I really recommend this. It's on NBC. You can catch up with it on demand. I think it's bingeable. I think you will find it very compelling.
The Enemy Within on NBC. Finally, this is just a little preview for actually what we're going to do next week, but because they're starting now, we're recommending it to you before we talk about them. So, there's a new series on Acorn called Straightforward. It's going to be available to binge. All 8 episodes of the show will be available to binge Monday, June 10th. It's an international crime drama and the first co-production between Denmark and New Zealand. And we have it. We just haven't been able to catch up with it, but we will, and we'll review it for you next week. But we just wanted to say, if you wanted to start watching it right away, it's starting Monday.
Everything that Acorn does is good,
it's usually worth your time. And also, Netflix has rebooted Tales of the City with many of the original casts, including Laura Linney and Olympia Dukakis, but also with Ellen Page and a lot of other wonderful people. And it is premiering June 7th on Netflix. And you can go right now to Acorn, by the way, to watch the original Tales of the City. So that's a fun way to do this.
And I think if you never saw the original, and maybe even if you did, because it was quite a while ago.
Well,
There's
we have
so
it.
much
you
that
know
I don't
why we
remember.
have it? Because Acorn TV also sells the box set of the original Tales of the City. So really, Acorn is a fantastic service, people. If you haven't...
And you know, this was quite a landmark production because it was about the homosexual community. And at the time...
It was very
cutting edge. Yeah. And it was Armistead Maupassant's from his books. And they were very popular books, and the series was a winner. Was it on PBS? I think it was.
Yes, it was. And it was a very, very highly acclaimed show. Yes. And if you can catch up with it, go to Acorn, watch the original, and then watch the reboot. And actually, I think that's what we'll do, because we do have the original. I think we should do that right now. Let's do it right now.
Okay, we're going.
Okay, so we're going to watch Tales of the City. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. We already have so much to talk about for next week, so make sure to join us next week.
And have a wonderful week.
Have a wonderful week, and go now and click on the link and watch
everything
Gone.
we've told you to watch.
But first watch Gone.
Okay, first watch Gone.
Bye.
Bye.